And we welcome our next speaker, Dr. Luc Dufresne, who works at Demeter Veterinary Services. He's a veterinarian from Canada. He obtained his Doctor of Veterinary Medicine from the University of Montreal. And following graduation, he has been working as a Swine practitioner with different companies, Gain in Canada, and then he moved to North Carolina and he worked for Browns of Carolina, then for Boehringer Ingelheim, PIC, and Seaboard Foods. And now he's back in Canada.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation. Actually, it's Mark that contacted me, and it's the history of the title come back that we were in China together, and we were talking about biosecurity and SOPs, and I've told them, you got to be careful sometime when people design SOPs, and one of the people I work with made a very detailed SOPs relate to entry into a trailer, and I say, humor me and show me how you're going to do it. And as he was reading his SOP and tried to figure out, he figured out that he was missing one foot to be able to get a SOP. So either he had a third foot driver or somebody that is able to levitate to get into that SOP was not feasible. So it's coming down to some time of principle that we try to apply, and sometimes it's lost in translation. And a lot of what I will cover today is based on the grow finish biosecurity, and a lot of it is based on farm entry, and very simple process. Most of the picture you will see I steal from the internet, and most of the picture you will see are actually present as good biosecurity procedure. So I apologize if some of you are here that I will bastardize your presentation, and please don't sue me. Okay, so employee farm entry, we basically have reinvented the wheel. If we go back into the first principle, when people have looked at SPF pigs, and when we try to improve our overall entry, reduce risk of transmission between farm, we came to the Danish hallway, which was basically a principle that was in the 70s. We basically looking at 3 or 4 zone entry. It was an unidirectional process. Outside farm was dirty, and then you had your buffer zone or transitional zone where you would have what we refer sometimes as the sock zone, where people would stand with their socks on. And then the farm side was either directly into the farm or was a 2 zone where we talk about an office locker room that was clean zone, or a fight-time farm that was clean but not clean because you had a lot of manure there present. So, and then you have picture like that show you a process that look like, okay, you've got your dirty zone where you get undressed. Some of the issue you get, try to get the, okay, there it is. There already say you undress, shower, then dress, then go to the farm. And then one show a shower entry, one show a non-shower entry. Problem with that, shoes are there. Then you have a blocker. So where's the clean, dirty line? You've got your transition, then going there. That's not too bad. Then basically, if we talk about the farm entry non-shower setup, or the traditional Danish entry, you would come from outside, and then your buffer zone initially was just a platform. Easy to get on, but was showing a delimitation of the process that you would go in. But then you also move to the clean, so you would remove your clothes, remove your shoes, get onto the buffer zone, wash your hands, and then get dressed, then put your boot zone. If you had an office, basically what you say is you put your separation, move your boot that. I'm fantastic at the animation you will see through that presentation. And then you would have your entry into the farm. So question of a non-clarifier, how much do I undress when I get there? Do I strip to my underwear? Do I get completely naked? Do I keep my sock? And that will be a thematic through the presentation, sock on or socks off. So this is the traditional, and I like that one because they paint the floor related to your dirty, your zone, your transition. And a lot of the nice South Farm have the nice, you undress, your transition zone is where you wash. And when you wash, usually there's area that you should put attention on, and those are your head, your hands, obviously, and your feet, because those have touched the floor. Other area are nice for you, but not necessarily nice for biosecurity purposes. And don't kill me on that one, but this is why I hate the bench. The bench has been the new thing, and it's not about the bench, but what happened is that we had to take the transition zone that was usually a 4-foot zone, that become 4-inch to 6-inch, and we matched the zone 3 and 4 together. And that's a process that came from the poultry side. So one of the issue, okay, sorry, the line is, okay, the sanitize of the booth at entry. I understand for poultry side, as you walk on with avian flu, that it can be it's a process. I'm not against the foot bath per se. I'm against about most of the foot bath I've seen are dirty and the disinfected are not changed on a regular basis. Then you say, okay, you remove your street shoes, then you swing to the clean side, then you can either stand with my socks. Again, is my socks considered clean and dirty? Wash my hand, then put my coverall and boots, what my socks will look like at the next farm, especially if I got farm boots sitting there that can be dirty. So I stand with my socks in shit from that farm that I'm gonna move to the next farm. Great for biosecurity, not great for biocontainment. Okay, sow farm, we add a second level. So before our shower, we have a 5th level of biosecurity there. We add the bench. And the bench is to protect from what you can carry on your shoes. Is it better? Well, it depends. The stuff that you were so scared that they got on their foot, not everybody have nice removing of their shoes. You think, okay, I put slip-on so I don't have laces I remove. Okay, does everybody have those type of shoes? All workers have that. If not, to remove their big winter boots, what the stuff that you were so scared that they got on their feet, now they possibly have it on their hands. And in an entry like that, what they will do immediately after they put that stuff on their hand, they will be clocking in, and the farm manager maybe put their food and also shake the hand of the manager. So did you actually reduce the risk that your shoe present on a system of entry? Don't forget the hands. If you do that process of removing your feet, what you were scared of your feet is now on your hands, so think about your hands. Okay, this one, it's not too bad, an entry into a finisher site. Okay, you have a clean, dirty, you have a place for your clothes. Okay, clean your hand, that's good. But when do you clean your hands? You remove your shoes. Now you have to swing on the other side. Once you swing on the other side, you're supposed to have your hand clean. So if you clean your hand before you remove your shoes, then your hands are dirtier again. If you remove your shoes, then clean your hands where your feet are. They are in the air. You need to have quite a bit of balance to be able to do that. Then you get onto the other zone. You have your shoes. So how the hell do you get your foot into the boots without stepping into the shit of the farm? Again, good biosecurity if you're concerned about what's in the farm. If you have people moving from farm to farm to farm, then the level of intimacy of contact make it worse. Close the door also. Don't forget your socks. That's a zone, the transition often that you see on farm. Easy to put your boots. If you have the boots that are the furthest one, what are you doing? You're stepping in to go get them. How many times you go into a finisher site and you get into the clean zone, there's no shoes. You get to step actually in the barn to go get the first pair of boots. What your socks are looking like when you do that. Don't forget the hands. And then you have to do from boots to boots. Your socks should not touch the ground. That one I like. It's a platform. It's easy to move. You put your shoes. It's a very restrained area. But good transition zone. Don't forget your hands. There's nothing to wash your hands there. Okay, this one I love. Okay, no place to wash your hands. You remove your shoes. Already you see that guy struggling. How the hell are you going to remove your shoe, push your foot back into that boots, and remove the next one? Don't forget your hand. Your barefoot never touch the ground. Really? That one I like. We talk about the clean, dirty line. Sometimes we kind of expand the what red line can do, and you end up with very complex design in office that look more like somebody has decided to draw a basketball court than a biosecurity line. This one, not bad design, just a little bit of ergonomy. Why did you put that thing on that side? To remove your shoes? Because then the next step is you rotate and step into the garbage can. That thing, move it to the other side. It's simple, but if you don't do the process with them and don't look at it, you will not. And how many finisher you go and you have SOPs and you do the SOPs and you say, shit, this is not what I expected that it would happen. It happened all the time. So we have to look at it a different way. That one I love, the big bench in front of the door. There's no way somebody will pass through. But if you put those in front of a shower door that is a 13-inch door, you basically either going to do that, or you have to have a lot of balance or be very flexible to be able to do the process to go through. So it has to be, when we do those process, we have to think about the principle, and we have to think that people want to do the right thing. Sometimes we put barriers on, but make the process so difficult that the conclusion is worse than what we're trying to prevent. That one I love. See that in a colony. And basically the guy that designed it is like 55 years old. There's no way on hell that I'm gonna move my foot all over. You say, I'm gonna have a bench to sit and then a smaller area just to rotate easily to get on the other side. I would like to have a hand cleaning station, but it's a direct entry. Once you remove your shoes, next step is go to the shower in. There's no contact with people in the office. A word about, so that's my spiel about entry. A little word about foot bath. I mean, when your shoes look like that, I don't care what type of foot bath you got, it's not gonna be very effective. One thing that I steal from Clayton Johnson visiting one of a multiplication saw farm, a very cheap, low pressure power washer, because there's some place that the hose are not giving you a lot of pressure. A little unit like that takes you about 20 seconds to give a very nice wash to your boots. And once boots are like that clean and you put them on foot bath, at the end of the day, those boots will be very clean the next day. A quick word on dead animal disposition. I think Marge will do a great presentation on that. Most growing sites are using rendering for dead animal. Rendering truck will move to SAS, so how to minimize the risk. Segregated path, line of separation, minimize contact with the dead box. Again, amazing look Dufresne animation. So usually you'll have to have a different path. You have a clean path and the dead to go to the dead box, and then you go back, get washed, disinfected. Outside operation, I like wearing white boots and red coveralls because that you know that they cannot confuse between outside clothes and inside clothes. And then your dead truck go on the other area. One of the problem with those is always the gosh darn lid. When you have a big lid and you have to swing it on one side to the other, you got to go on the dirty side to pick it up and move it up. So a lot of the simple design as we have now has been the 2-lid dead box that has worked fairly well. As Marge talked, making a ramp, make it a lot easier for you, especially if you don't have a trailer or a skid loader to drop to minimize contact with that box. But as you move that thing up, you're gonna need something to bring it back. So often we have put either a rod or a chain to be able to pull it back from the clean side so you don't get contact with it. Simple design, we like the ramp to be a little bit higher there to function on that two-side dead box to minimize the contact. This one is for a larger site. It's basically there you see that it's fairly difficult for your employee to touch the box, and if he touched the box, he's in a much bigger problem than a biosecurity problem. Those were basically hydraulic system that the box is self going up and dropping. In some of other side, they will use dump trailer that they will just leave the trailer there. Once the trailer is full, a tractor will come, pick it up, and bring it to the rendering. Really minimize the contact on the rendering and your farm. This is done usually for a larger site. That would be for a 28,000 sow farm in Texas. Then you've got your site-specific. You got your biovator. You got your incinerator. You got your composting. This functions very well where you've got basically a blender. This is not your Fargo wood chipper, but it will cut carcass at a slow speed and make them into chunks. That will compost a lot faster. And that system functions actually extremely well. But when you go with those larger systems, people start thinking, well, I'm going to do that for multiple farms to amortize that. If you do that, then you have the same risk of transmission between sites. So you still have to be careful. And as Marjorie said, as you take your dead process, it has to be from your farm to be biosecure to minimize the risk of transmission, because if you have one of your farm infected with PED or something bad, then that will not protect you from the internal aspect if you don't do your SOP properly. Live transportation quickly, understand the risk depending on the type of movement. Usually if you're bringing pigs in, whatever is in the truck will move in with the pig. But if you are shipping out, then that process of being able to have well-designed SOP and under the same principle on the unidirectional pig flow, determine the zone, eliminate the cross traffic, assure that we have a clean trailer, clean chute, clean clothing and SOP, clothing and boots, and well-designed SOP. Allow area for the driver to enter the trailer easily. Outside transition in the trailer area, consider the trailer design when you do that. Always remember that truck drivers are hard to find. They're not biosecurity expert, and they're not gymnasts or Jedi master to get into those. This is a process that I actually, when I saw it, I liked it, where you would basically clean your boots, and put the process in. And then this is where I kind of tried a little bit, especially when I presented to a group of drivers initially. Okay, that way you minimize stepping in. And then people say, yeah, you're missing a step in that process. And I say, what's that's the next step that's going to happen. So and if you show those to safety, they would say, really? You want people to do that? And so you have to look also at people's safety, and you develop the process and be able to think it through. So in conclusion, when we think about developing proper biosecurity protocol, that's Stephen Summerlin saying, and I love that one, is always remember that the main thing is keeping the main thing the main thing. So understand the principle, explain the principle, eliminate the steps that don't matter, don't overcomplicate the process, and stick to the steps that do. And sometimes you need to compromise. People will not agree sometimes with that. Good to great, they say good is the enemy of great. That's true except for finisher biosecurity. You're better to have a good program apply at 100% than a great one that is just applied at 50%. Understand that people need to understand, know the non-negotiable, that you want absolutely those things to be understood by your people, and try to eliminate the fuss. So how we think about it, think biosecurity and biocontainment. Think that in finisher and growing pigs, people are moving from site to site. They don't do one site a day. So whatever is going to be in the farm, you don't want those guys to bring it to another farm. Think unidirectional flow when they enter. Think for a zone of entry. I like having a transition zones where people have space to do the stuff. And if their socks are clean, I'm less worried of clean socks going from farm to farm than having a line and forcing people having dirty socks going from farm to farm. Think ergonomic. Most people working on the farm are not they're older. They can be have a little bit overweight. There's some process that can be very hard for them. So you have to think about them being able to do it day in, day out. Think people safety and think ease of use. Producer and employee will do those process every day, multiple times a day. And the basic thing is Also, when you develop SOP, sit with the people who are doing it and develop that with them, and they will tell you if it's feasible or not. So often people are thinking that that's the way you see us, and that's the way you want us to be. And the reality, it's not that, but there's a reality in between that makes sense. That we can have, I think, better biosecurity and better aspect of things being applied in the grow finish area day in, day out by sticking to the main principle. Thank you.